I understand as a leader of this organization that I have to lead. You can't just sit back and hope that something happens. You have to go out there and implement it and make it happen. To me, I don't come to work thinking, man, I got to go do my job today. It's just something that feels natural to me and I enjoy it, and that's what I want to do. From the time that I took office and instilled those programs and started new things here, within the first 2 years, our crime rate dropped 36% straight across the board.
At Cole Christian County. We are excited to be here. Obviously, it's the summertime, and obviously, I got my man here, Will Aiken. We're excited to be in this county doing another episode of Sheriff's Talk. Happy that you gave us the opportunity to come speak with you. We know you stay busy, especially as a sheriff. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, first off, it's glad to have you here. There's all kinds of things we can talk about today. I think I want to focus a little bit. You said it's summertime. We've got a lot of things going on here. Things pick up during the summer like most jurisdictions do. But we have something really special to us going on. And actually today is the first day that the cameras will be in the car. We start On Patrol Live today.
Ooh, okay. So you do the podcast and you got On Patrol Live. That's great, very great. I've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram and then their actual show and stuff. They do really good work.
They do. They're actually really good to work with. This weekend will be our first live weekend. Like I say, the rest of the week there's a camera in the car, and so it's a lot of fun for me to sit back. I know the good work that my deputies do. The community relates that to us all the time. There's honestly not a single day that goes by that somebody doesn't say thank you or tell me what a good job that the deputies are doing. This is just going to give us an opportunity to highlight the good work that we do and show the talents of the deputies off, and that's what I'm excited about.
So since we're talking about things like social media and we're talking about being live, I was posing this question to Will yesterday, and it's going to throw you off. This would be my complete preparation for it. So there's no way you could have planned for this question I'm going to give you. If you had to choose one gorilla versus 100 men, who do you think wins?
Well, obviously the 100 men.
The gorillas are pretty strong, though.
Well, they are.
I'm with you.
They are, but I think about that. I mean, you could spin that and say with 100 women. You want to fight 100 women?
No, I don't.
Not.
Yeah. So how many men do you think it will take before you get to kill this one gorilla out of 100?
One.
No weapons though. Let me clarify. No weapons.
Well, you didn't say that.
This is just bare hands, whatever you come, no knives, rocks. It's just straight fist.
I've encountered a few gorillas in my 31-year career out on the street. I can think of one in particular. It took about 5 of us to get him taken to jail. So I would suspect at least 5.
What was your perspective on this?
Hey, 100 men all day long. I mean, if you think historically, different battles and stuff like that, and they're running the charge, I mean, you just get that the sheer numbers is going to overpower something.
Yeah.
Whether it be a gorilla or another 4 or 7. So yeah, I'm for the 100 men.
I don't know, man. I'm on the fence about this one.
Let me spin this a little bit. Let's think about this. Think about David and Goliath. It only took one man to take him down.
Yeah.
I kind of compare that to what we're talking about here. I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, it really only takes one person.
So I'm happy, and obviously I do things with a tie in my mind. I do wing it. So when it comes to like what you've been through as a leader and like your leadership styles, have you seen an impact of maybe one person, how it can maybe change the culture of an office or just like a law enforcement entity? What like you seen from the sheriff's perspective?
Sure. I mean, you know, one bad attitude can change things for everybody, but one good attitude can also change things for everybody. You know, one person can have a positive effect on 100 people and do it very quickly. And that's the kind of people that I try to surround myself with and employ here at the sheriff's office. Like-minded people that are here for the right reasons and the right purpose and to make things better for our community.
Yeah, and that's important part. I know you've had situations like that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want those positive people because you know, and you just stated it, if it's a negative person, then that flows through. I mean, it affects other people, infects other people. But you have that right person who has the right attitude, no matter what challenges are given to them or what the situation is, it always leads to a positive reaction by others because it's that example that they see and they're just like, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah, no matter what the challenge is.
Yeah. So so when you do find that bad apple, so to speak, like how have you found yourself able to like overcome that effectively? Because I know obviously every place has it, and I don't obviously it's just not law enforcement, but being that that's what you've been doing, like how do you impact that bad apple to maybe become a good apple, or at least become eatable, I guess, or sellable? Like is there any techniques that you've seen?
Well, I mean, there's lots of different things that can be done. Obviously, we try to implement a performance improvement program for those individuals. We try to make sure that we put them with people that will mentor them and show them positive ways to handle certain aspects of their job. And you know, if it comes right down to it, if it doesn't work, then we get rid of that bad apple.
Yeah. And you know, it's cool when you say that because I think sometimes when people are in leadership roles, they want to go directly to that sometimes, like, hey, let's just get rid of him or her. And it's like, well, how do you know what's going on with that person?
Exactly.
How can you effectively say this person deserves none of your attention? Because you don't know. I know we've talked about that before. Like sometimes people are going through a series of events that's outside of what we do, and it's good to know about that too, because that does impact their decisions.
It does, and that's something that from the very beginning, after being elected sheriff, shortly after, we didn't have a chaplain program. We didn't have counselors. We didn't have therapists. We now have 14 here at the sheriff's office.
Wow. That's awesome.
That is good.
We have
that is good.
We have licensed counselors and licensed therapists. You know, we provide everything that a deputy might need related to those situations, whether it be personal, at work, and my chaplains and counselors and therapists, they know that if they have a deputy that needs assistance, that they take care of it. I don't need to know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it unless somebody's committed a crime or somebody is going to harm themselves. And that has been a very, very huge thing for us because I know that deputies utilize that. I know the employees here utilize that. In fact, one day a week, they're in the office for 2 hours just talking to people, saying, hey, what's going on? You can stop in their office. But there is somebody is on duty 24 hours a day in the chaplaincy. So
yeah, you're a change leader. I mean, there are a lot of agencies out there that would, you know, question, like, not question you, but question, how did you get therapists involved? How did you get clinicians? How do you have 14 chaplains, right? But I think it's also important for leaders to understand that you can only do so much for a person. If they don't want to reciprocate it or take your advice or something like that, then it's up to us to have to be able to say, okay, let's help you be successful somewhere else.
exactly.
Yeah, but I think you've definitely put all the things in place to help people be successful.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, I understand as a leader of this organization that I have to lead. You can't just sit back and hope that something happens. You have to go out there and implement it and make it happen.
Right.
And once again, putting the right people in those places is very instrumental.
Yeah. We've talked about some of that, about like the role of the sheriff as far as it comes to like mental wellness, like that general area, resiliency. So it sounds like obviously you've taken a step towards that. I mean, you went from 0 to, you said 14, and how many terms now? Or years?
Well, going on 11 years. So.
No, yeah. So that's a big improvement over 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're taking care of. I'm going to kind of change gears here for a second. You take care of your employees.
So no gorillas. We're not talking about gorillas.
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure. We just want to make sure we talk about gorillas. Okay. Because I was going to jump back in, but okay. Go ahead.
You're taking care of all your employees. You're doing everything that a lot of agencies wish they could do. Yeah, I'm sure it takes. It definitely takes funding, prioritization, and stuff like that. But who takes care of you? Who does Sheriff Brad Cole see?
Well,
and how do you take care of your
you know,
wellness?
it's interesting that you asked that, because the same people that tend to the deputies and provide what they need are the same people that help me as well. But as you all know, things happen at home. You take things home that sometimes you wish you hadn't, and my wife gets to hear about a little bit of that, but she's been around a long time with me, and it's just like second nature to her now. There's lots of things that I do outside of here that are kind of my peace of mind. I'm a farmer too. I raise beef cattle. I do all my own hay. I do my own farming. That is my little peace of mind.
Yeah.
I'm hard work.
I'm a basketball coach for a girls basketball coach for a Christian school. Love doing that. That brings back a little peace of mind. There's just lots of things outside of here that I do that fulfill that need to keep me in a place where it keeps me balanced.
So it sounds like you're I know you, and I know you love this job. I mean, you still
Absolutely.
continue to do it, but it doesn't sound like you've let this job define who you are. Is that safe to say?
No, I think that's absolutely a great way to analyze that. This is not, I don't necessarily consider this a job. This is a calling for me. I always had thoughts in my head that, one day it'd probably be kind of neat to be the sheriff.
Yeah.
And then I was the sheriff, and I am the sheriff, and I'm like, I'm not sure this is as neat as what I thought it would be. Because it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of outside influences, the jail in particular. I mean, we all know that's a huge thing, a burden that you have to manage. But this is not a job to me. I don't come to work thinking, man, I got to go do my job today.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that feels natural to me, and I enjoy it, and it's what I want to do. It just feels like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a lot of other mechanisms in place that keep you grounded. I think we definitely have to have a support structure. And I love that you've shared that you go home and you tell your wife, things. And I'm sure you don't go into the gory details about things that happen, but it always concerns me when I hear law enforcement professionals, especially the CEOs of organizations, say, well, my spouse didn't sign up for that. I'm like, well, kind of by default they did when they said I do. I
Sure.
mean, and so when you don't have that avenue of being able to talk with them, then who else can you talk with? And then that's where we see problems arising.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you've already figured that out, and you balance it very well.
Yeah, I think so. I hear my wife very often when we're out, just trying to have dinner or whatever we're out doing. I always run into somebody, or somebody comes up and wants to talk to you. You know how that is.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, we can't go anywhere without you having to talk to somebody. And I'm like, yeah, I understand, but
Yeah,
it's just the
you
way
have
it
to
is.
leave your county in order to have date night.
Yeah.
He did tell me that. He was like, if we ever want an actual date night where it's just peace and quiet, I go 1 or 2 counties over, because it's a less likelihood someone's going to recognize you.
Sure.
That's awesome.
So I know we've kind of gone like the mental wellness, take care of yourself. Like, there's going to be a lot of sheriffs that watch us. At least we hope they do. That's what Jeannie and Kevin, that's what we're always hoping for. You're 11 years in. How was it in the beginning when you became the sheriff and it came to creating that balance? Obviously, it sounds like you've always had it, because obviously you didn't just start farming 11 years ago.
No.
You didn't just start coaching 11 years ago. But at what, there had to be a moment where you're like, hey, no, I need to have this time to myself. Like, do you remember a time or an incident or something that may have said, you know what, I need to go farm this weekend, or I need to spend more time with the team?
You know, I can't think of anything that just stands out. I can tell you, about 5 years ago, I found myself saying, you know, you need to spend a little more time with your family. And it wasn't because I wasn't spending time with my family. It was just something that one day it just came over me. And so we started doing a few things that we hadn't normally done before. Family-wise, we go camping fairly often as a family. Of course, I mean, my oldest daughter's 30. I got 4 daughters. The oldest is 30. The twins are 23, and then the youngest is 12, and then we got 3 granddaughters. So
That's a big gap.
12.
12.
It's a whole lot of girls.
I was gonna leave that one alone. I was just gonna let you slide on that one, but I was like, hey, you do got 4. I was like 30 and 12. Yeah.
4 daughters and 3 granddaughters. So.
Yeah.
But,
and the grandchildren are all girls too.
All girls, yeah. But I'll tell you,
That's a lot of
you
women.
know, not to switch gears here, but the best thing in the world is grandkids. I mean, I don't know why we can't have those first.
But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to switch you. So since we're on that path, like so how have they even changed? Like how have they changed? Like you as Brad Cole, how have you changed since they start being birthed into this world?
It's been quite interesting to see that growth in my children, to see them with families and have good careers. You know, I don't know. Obviously, we instill the right things in them to do the right things, be productive citizens, and I see them raising grandchildren, and I see the things that they do. I relate a lot of that back to doing the best you can with what you had at the time. I mean, obviously, they have way more than what we had when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, it's something very special. Like my 2-year-old granddaughter, you wouldn't think a 2-year-old would know how to operate a phone or anything like that, but she'll pick the phone up and she'll call me, and I'll see it's coming from my daughter or my son-in-law, and I'll answer it, and she'll say, it'll be her, and she'll say, "Pop," and it's just like, it's a whole new day. It just, everything lights up. So it's pretty amazing.
And you know, and I highlight that because sometimes certain people, whether in law enforcement, out of law enforcement, sheriff, non-sheriff, wherever you're at, sometimes you're looking for extra purpose in life.
Sure.
And even if, like, it sounds like even though you have your outlets, your farming, your women's team, you now have grandkids too.
Yeah.
So there's even more people that are creating purpose, like just to
Sure.
you know, highlight what you're doing. So I don't have any grandkids. Did y'all have any yet?
No, not yet, but my oldest son's 29, and he won't be the first to give me grandkids, but I think my middle son and his soon-to-be wife will give me grandkids. But I tell you what, you know, thinking about how much time I've spent on my career, and in my mind thinking how much time I spent away from my family, now I'm to that point, that life stage cycle where I'm like, man, I really want to spend more time with my family. But the prospect of having grandkids is just so exciting. Like I look up to people like you, and I love hearing the stories about grandkids and your interaction with them, because I'm like, that's going to be me someday.
Yeah.
And it definitely gives different purpose.
Well, you know, and I struggled with it with my children when my mom they were around, because they let them do whatever they wanted to do, and I'm like, no, they can't do that. No, do not feed them that, or don't give them that. Well, I know what it's like now.
Whatever you want,
Whatever
sweetheart,
you want.
baby girl, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You want. We're gonna pass the whole fruit and vegetable section. We're gonna go to the store. We're gonna just go to the candy section. Whatever you just pick off of whatever else, every row.
It's so gratifying to look at my daughter and say, you don't get to tell me what to do at my house.
That's cool. Like I have heard. I'm not a grandparent at all. My son's 12, but it's like you just have a different meaning, different purpose, and like it's like you just have a different joy, and like just look at the parenting side. Do you think any of that, like your style of parenting, has changed since you've been a sheriff?
You know, I grew up in a law enforcement family.
Okay.
Strict, kind of. You followed the line, and I guess that kind of was my concept of parenting from the very beginning. But over the years, that's pulled back a little bit because although it served me well as a kid growing up, I mean,
You've achieved it. You've achieved a few things at this point.
I generally was not a problem for anybody. Not a problem at school. It worked for me. It worked for my kids, but I did have to. I mean, my wife always told me all the time, and it drove me crazy. She would say, "Listen, choose your battles. They're girls. Choose your battles. I understand what you're saying, and you're right, but choose your battles." And that concept has worked pretty well.
And it's cool. Like she sounds like she knows how to communicate with you well. Like,
Yes.
like she knows you
Yes.
as well. Like she's like, honey, I don't think we can go this route right now. I like she's like you said, you're on the right path, but this path is gonna knock us all off the road.
You know the old concept and the old saying in law enforcement. It's ask, tell, and make.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of me at home from an early fatherhood, and she had to deprogram that. She was like, "You're not at work.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask us, tell us, and then make us. You need to develop something." And it is obviously difficult sometimes to come home and deprogram that, but you know, it's worked well.
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because we hear about that proverbial light switch. I don't ever take work home, and I don't ever take home to work.
Mm-hmm.
That, I don't know. For me, and what are your thoughts? I don't think that's possible because we're, you know, the human aspect of who we are. You're going to take work home and
Sure.
home to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you figure that out? Was it because of your wife and helping you deprogram? What did you see?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing of just being made aware of what I was doing, because I didn't realize what I was doing. One of the other things that used to frustrate, and I still do it some, but if the kids or the wife asked me a question, I'd answer their question with the question. I'm not answering a question. They're like, we're the ones asking the questions, just answer the questions.
Yeah.
Or if I was asked a question, it would be either a yes or no answer. And they're like, can you like give us a little more than just a yes or no? And it is those type of things that you don't even realize you're doing, that you have to consciously think about doing at home to make a better home environment.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the last ones to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Until someone trusted brings it up to us, and we're like, was that really like that?
Yeah.
And then you start reflecting, and you're like, oh my gosh, I was like that. And for me, I thank my wife because she challenges me in that arena. Sometimes I'm a little regretful, you know, carry a little bit of guilt that I was like that when my sons were
Yeah.
younger, and now here I am. But thankfully, my kids have all said, "Dad, we're okay." And I'm like, thank God, but there's still a little bit, you know, in the back of my mind going, I could have been better. But rather than staying in the past, it's like, okay, you know now.
Yeah.
What are you going to do moving forward?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
keep it going.
So in other words, it's important to be married as a sheriff, is what you're saying. What you all are saying. With the right person.
I mean,
With the right person. One of y'all wives will probably watch this, so y'all, this is y'all chance to say what y'all gonna say positive. This is how you get brownie points right here. So both of y'all wives, I will say it's important to be married as a sheriff. And if other sheriff that's watching, if you're not married, find the right woman, get married, do what you have to. But I think out of everything we said, we're talking about the support system. Like you have to go home to somebody. It could be a family member, a wife, a spouse, whoever that looks like. But at the end of the day, you're not doing it alone.
Yeah.
And that's what helps you get better.
It is. You know, there's days that I go home and she knows it's been one of those days, because you know, in the normal world, you don't just go home and do nothing. You go home and you have stuff to do at home. And she's very supportive of it. On those days, she doesn't like it, but
Yeah, but she understands.
I come home and I'm like, you know, I just need to sit down in my recliner for a little while, and sometimes a little while lasts till 10 o'clock at night, but just need to sit down and decompress and relax. And having somebody that understands and knows that and can deal with that is pretty special.
Because I don't even know what it is to be a sheriff, but I can only imagine what you all see, what you all experience, and just having that person to, even if it's y'all sitting in two corners of the living room, them knowing like, hey, I know something went on. I non-verbally feel what you've gone through. I'm not gonna tell you to or actually do something because I understand.
Yeah.
It's special to have someone, you know, at home. And I don't know if it has to be married. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
But
whatever
I
that
will
looks
say
like.
for me, that is a safe place where I know I can unwind, and I know that my wife is going to be like, "Ooh, you look like you've had a bad day," you know, or "Hey, what's going on? What's on your mind?" And then I can share a little bit. And like you, I don't share all of the stuff, you know. And granted, I'm not out there doing what the men and women are doing, but I still have to know, like, we're always updated on every critical incident and every major case and stuff like that. So you're still getting the stuff indirectly.
And you still have to go home and
You
you
still
still,
have to
and you
go
still
home.
have to, and but you also still have to deal with whatever else you have going on. You said you have 4 girls, well, 4 adults, well, not 12-year-old, but you have 4 children and 3 grandchildren, so they even have stuff going on. You have stuff going on with your farming, stuff going on with the school team, but then you still got the oversight of a whole sheriff's office, so it's a lot to balance out.
And we were talking earlier, it's not just the sheriff's office too. Can you talk about some of your other roles as sheriff, like some of the doors that have opened up because of the things that you've been involved with over the last 11 years as sheriff?
Well, so I'm very involved at the National Sheriff's Association. Traffic safety has been a huge part of my life, basically my whole life. I am the chairman of the Traffic Safety Committee for the National Sheriff's Association. I've had 3 meetings just this week. One with the NHTSA administrator, the NHTSA general counsel, and I could keep going on. What happens in Christian County doesn't necessarily stay in Christian County. As the chairman of the Traffic Safety Committee, I am the head advocate for the National Sheriff's Association related to that. So I meet with all these people throughout the nation. I advocate for every sheriff across the nation in traffic safety aspects. I'm also on the Immigration and Border Security Committee for the National Sheriff's Association. We meet pretty often with that, and as you can imagine, with the new president and the administration, there's been a lot of work put in by the sheriffs that are on that committee, and there's about 20 of us that are taking care of a lot of stuff across the nation for sheriffs that a lot of times even sheriffs don't even know are going on. We're working on that. We're doing that. The Government Affairs Committee for the National Sheriff's Association, I'm on that committee as well. We meet no less than monthly to go over legislation that affects sheriffs across the nation, anything that relates to government affairs. I travel to Washington, D.C. A couple times a year at the very least for meetings and to meet with important people that make decisions that affect sheriffs. You know, the FCC ruling that we dealt with and are dealing with, I've been to DC with that. I've met with attorneys for the National Sheriff's Association. I mean, I've done a lot of work on the inside on that, and I don't say all these things to boast or anything about it. It's just what I do, and I do it for the betterment of the sheriff's office, and not just my sheriff's office, but hopefully for those sheriffs out there that aren't able to do that for themselves.
Yeah, just to put things into perspective, you're talking about you're one of 20 sheriffs in that case that's representing and advocating for over 3,000 sheriffs in the country. And not all sheriffs have the ability to be in influential positions or, you know, the ability to go to DC and advocate for the rest of the sheriffs. So thank God we have people like you. I mean, I know my involvement and where it takes me, but you know, I think the work that you're doing is not just good for Christian County, but it's also good for all the counties across the nation. So I want to thank you for doing that.
Well, I
That's
appreciate
huge.
it. I do that because I enjoy doing it, and I know it's a benefit for the sheriffs and the citizens that we serve. No other reason than that, but I do enjoy it. It's busy work. It is sometimes very frustrating, as you know, being in DC from your times there, and you just want to bang your head against the wall sometimes and think, how do you people come up with these things? But if there's not people there that's advocating and doing that kind of work, then they're going to continue to push the bad stuff at us.
I would also go as far as to say that Christian County is lucky to have you, because in order to be in positions like that, you have to know what you're talking about. And you know, with all of your involvement with NSA, and I know you're involved with other things too, that just, you know, validates the man who you are and the knowledge that you carry. So again, I mean, that's again, thank God that we have people like you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
What are some, I know we said there's no major initiatives, but outside of On Patrol being here next weeks, months, I don't know how long they're here for, I don't know if they're contracted, I don't know how that works, but is there any major improvements you want to see, maybe to the jail or something like that?
Well, I mean, we've always got something going on, trying to improve on something. We're adding more deputies for the next school year. We handle most of all the schools in the county, with the exception of a couple. They all have deputies there. So we're adding some more deputies for that. That's exciting for us. We do, related to that, we have a COPS grant that we've applied for that is directly related to school safety. And we should hear something back on that pretty soon, but it looks really promising. So there's lots of things related to school safety that we're looking at moving forward with and implementing. Obviously, anytime that you can add more safety and things to protect our kids, the better off we are. So we have that. As I mentioned earlier, traffic safety is a huge thing for me.
And were you a traffic cop before?
I have.
I would assume, but I mean,
Yep.
I want to make sure. I was like, I try to keep that assumed out of my thing, but you're a motors guy.
Motor guy. I still ride. We actually, our motor unit here, the summertime obviously is a busy time for them. Highway 65 is the main corridor to Branson. We have an influx of about 5 million visitors a year. So
that's what Will was telling me. He was telling me like you go to Branson, you try to go during the off peak if you want to enjoy it, but what ends up happening is you have a lot of people because of just, I guess, the beauty of it.
Yeah, and there's so much to do there. So we have that, just all kinds of things going on. We've experienced a huge population growth here in the county in the last 20 years. Basically, the population in the county's doubled in the last 20 years.
Where did that? Is that just like agricultural? Is that just like schools? I mean, like that's a lot of people.
Well, I'll tell you what. A lot of it is. It's a lot of people that work in Springfield that don't want to live in Springfield, and the housing growth here is just tremendous. A large percentage of the people that live here don't work here.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Which, I mean, we operate primarily off the sales tax here at the sheriff's office, which is a struggle sometimes because everybody leaves the county during the day and spends their money somewhere else, and
come back, yeah.
They come back and sleep at
night.
night.
That's sleep at night, yeah.
Because it's a safe community. I mean, public safety here is paramount. We don't have shootings here. Knock on wood. We don't have shootings here. You have a shooting or stabbing just about every day in Springfield. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. But with the population growth, I mean, obviously, the jail was built in 2001.
24 years later, yeah.
So we struggle daily because our jail just is not what what we need, and with being 24 years old, the wear and tear on a jail is not even comparable to what your house is.
Well, yeah. Well, let's talk about, because I have a background working in prison, not being in prison, but working in the prison, and I think sometimes people don't understand how just things break down when it comes to the jail. So if, like you said, your jail's been built 24 years ago, and the population within that time has doubled, obviously there's a few more people committing crimes. That's just how life goes.
Sure.
How do you think that impacts the sheriff's office, like as far as like funding or personnel, because now your jail is being more filled up than before?
Well, I mean, obviously, like many other sheriffs, I have inmates housed at other counties as well. I mean, we have all we can handle here, and I have them in 2 other counties right now. That's taxing on our budget to have to house people in other places and pay other people to take care of them. Not to mention having to assign transport deputies to run back and forth. I mean, there's so many different logistics related to that people don't even think about that, I mean, is a burden.
I can only imagine that your county is going to continue to grow at that rate. And what people need to understand is when your community grows, one, that's a great sign. I mean, people
Sure.
love it here. They
Yeah,
feel safe
they
here.
feel safe.
Yeah, but there's an element that also follows that. And yes, crimes are committed. No matter where you go, every community is going to be affected by
Sure.
that. No one's immune to it. But we often forget about the jail. It's a piece of infrastructure that's like, oh, it's there, that we're going to put people in jail. But when all these people come up and arrests go up, where do you put them? I mean, your jail is only 24 years old, and you already have inmates at 2 other counties.
Yeah.
At some point, we're going to have to be like, okay, we need to build a new jail. But then, how much does a new jail cost? Those are challenges that you're going to have to, address.
Sure, and we're in one of the most conservative parts of the country that there is, and I love it, but nobody wants new taxes. Nobody wants to vote in a new tax to build a jail. I mean, let's face it, I don't even want to do that.
Right.
But I understand that the jail is the biggest liability for the county, period. We still have to provide for their human needs, and we do the absolute best we can to make sure that they have the best living environment, even though they are in jail. They're still people, they're still human beings, and they need to be treated as such. There's that element as well. I mean, when we get to the point where we're at a capacity that we can't provide what we have to or need to, that's when we do send them out. Because, I mean, like I said, they may have committed a crime, they may have done something wrong, but they're still human beings, they're still people, and they need to be treated as such.
Absolutely. I try to remind people too that people like in my jail, I mean, who are they? They're loved ones of members of our community.
Sure.
They are members of our community. And so we still have to take care of them, not only because we have a constitutional obligation to do so, but they're human beings.
Yeah. Listen, nobody's immune to it. People make mistakes. People commit crimes, make bad choices all the time. Unfortunately, some more than others. I've had family members in this jail. It doesn't matter that they're my family. If they commit a crime, we're going to arrest them and put them in here.
Right.
Just like you said, they're somebody's family members. Somebody loves them and cares about them, and we want to make sure that they are cared for here.
Yeah. I think that's what separates us from the rest of the world, is the way that we care for people here.
Sure.
Granted, not the best situation, but I'm glad for it. I've been.
I talked about our chaplaincy earlier, and talking about the jail brings something up too. We have full-time, and when I say full-time, we have full-time chaplains in the jail. There's a chaplain on duty right now in the jail.
Wow.
We provide those services to the inmates as well. We have services, we have worship, we baptize them if they're to that point in their faith and their belief.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my belief that is something that we should afford to them, because that's my belief, and that is the philosophy of this office. And it's important.
Absolutely it is. Just to make things clear, you're not forcing anyone to do that, right?
No, absolutely. They
They're
can,
being-
they know what time it starts,
Yeah.
worship starts, they know what time service starts. All they have to do is request to go and they'll be taken.
Yeah, the only reason why I bring that up is because I know there's a lot of opposition to what other sheriff's offices are doing, and the argument is, oh, you're forcing them to do something that they wouldn't do otherwise. It's like, no, we're just, in your words, you were affording them the opportunity,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's completely up to them.
Yep, that's right. And I'll tell you, I truly believe that the recidivism rate, because of those programs, has went down. There's people that I saw before that were constantly coming to jail and being arrested. You don't see those people coming back as often since we implemented a lot of those programs in the jail.
And that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Reduce recidivism. We don't want people in our jails.
No.
It's there
Yeah.
because we have to have it.
I tell people all the time, and I still get out on the road and I go to calls and not as much as I'd like to, because that's what I really like doing.
Sure.
But I tell people all the time, they'll say, well, all you want to do is take me to jail. I'm like, no, you don't understand. The last thing I want to do is take you to jail.
By you coming to my jail, you're causing me more problems,
Yeah.
more
Exactly.
headaches.
Yeah, well, because now you become a full-time watcher of them. Like, it's not like if you do something at home, you can just go to sleep. When you're in the jail, you have to have staff 24/7 there.
Sure.
So, and what does that increase? Liability, increase other issues. It's just what that comes with it. So, like, I agree. And people always say, well, you want to put us in jail, you want to put that person in prison. No, we just want them to behave correctly, and that's it. If they do that, I mean, we know people won't, but we just know that at the end of the day, especially in law enforcement, that there has to be a place for somebody to go. And we will house them, we will take care of them, we will do whatever we need to, but our number one objective isn't for them to be there.
Exactly.
How long have you lived in your county?
Oh, goodness. Going on 25 years.
25 years, and I know that you're super involved in the community. So, talking about people who are going to jail, I mean, you are so involved with your community. I'm sure that there are people that probably feel like they've let you down, or people who you know and you just feel bad for them because it's like there are other ways of accomplishing what it is that you need to accomplish. And so, what's that dynamic like? Especially when you're out at a restaurant with your wife and you see someone and they want to have that kind of conversation with you.
You know, that's interesting you ask that, because we do go out. I mean, we go out to a restaurant or whatever, and I'll see somebody that I've arrested or has been in the
Yeah.
jail. And you know, if I'm in the jail fairly often, if I see somebody, it's not unusual for me just to stop and talk to them and just have a conversation. An inmate, just see how their day is.
Yeah.
Those things that we as sheriffs do or other law enforcement officers do, you don't understand what kind of impact that has on people's lives. It's really rewarding to be out like you're talking and see somebody that you've arrested and they actually come up to you and shake your hand and talk to you and thank you for what you've done for their life, the changes they made just because of your influence. And that's another aspect of law enforcement that a lot of people don't understand and realize that happens. Now, you know, not every law enforcement officer do those things, but it's the law enforcement officers that do those kind of things that are the real people that make the impact on their communities and make their communities better.
Yeah, and the people who work in the jail, I mean, they're out of sight, out of mind. And I know, and I'm sure you do the same thing, I always try to highlight the good work that our men and women in the jail are doing, because they are the ones who make a difference in our inmates' lives. You know, affording them the opportunities, telling them what programs that we have to offer. I mean, and a lot of times, you know, just having a conversation with them and not making them feel like they're an animal caged.
Yeah.
It's like we still respect you. You're still a human being, and we're going to talk to you that way.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. You know, my medical staff, they comment all the time, because some of them do work in other facilities as well, and they talk about, and like, we love coming to work here because your inmates are so well behaved. Well, it's because they're treated like human beings and not caged animals like you're talking about. Now they're here for a reason. If they behave badly, then there's consequences for that behavior. But there's no doubt in my mind that these programs and the things that many sheriffs do across the nation in their jails make a huge impact on these people and how they react to the community when they are released.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing great things, but those are going to be big challenges. I mean, you said it, no one wants to vote for more taxes. And like you, I don't want to, but we know because of our positions that it's imperative that we do and continue to grow with the growth of our counties and stuff like that. But I want to kind of touch back on the involvement that you have in your community and the fact that you're the sheriff, and we've already talked about the national efforts that you're involved in, but your involvement with the community. You're a coach, if I understand that correctly. Yeah, and the only reason why we started as late as we did in the morning this morning is because you had practice.
Yeah, we had early morning practice.
Yeah. So what are some of the other things that you do that really gets you involved in the community?
Well, we're very active in our church. That's very important to us. There's I can think of off the top of my head, Rotary. I've got an event come up with Rotary where I'm speaking. One thing that a lot of people probably don't know, I know you know because you've been around, but I'm an auctioneer as well.
And a very good one.
I enjoy that a lot.
Oh, he was one of the auctioneer last time. Now I'm sorry. I'm trying to put Brad Cole again. I'm sorry. All right, where was like, where have I seen him at? And you have lost weight since then. So congrats on that. Yeah, because I was like, no, there was a guy that he was really good at the last auction.
I bet if he put his cowboy hat on.
Yeah, it was. So no, that is good. You do good at that. No, you actually do. You're right.
But just this last weekend, we had an event here on the square at the historic downtown River District. They had a big event on the square, and they had a fundraising pie auction. I get those phone calls for those benefit auctions, and I can't tell you how many benefit auctions I do. And of course, I don't charge anything to do that, but the contacts I make and the involvement in those activities builds that trust and relationships. It's a lot of fun for me. I enjoy it, and it doesn't help with the weight loss, but my wife bought a pie at that auction this weekend, and I've probably had 2 or 3 bites of it this week. So, there's just lots of things. Our DARE program, we do a lot of things with DARE in all the schools. I try to go to the schools during some of those programs, and man, it doesn't seem like there's a time when you slow down, but that community involvement obviously is what makes this what it is.
Yeah, it's about the connections. It's when you have to make hard decisions, people already know you and they can relate with the reasons why you're having to make those decisions. And I think it's pretty important for at least a sheriff. I mean, I think our situations are different than police chiefs. Absolutely. Because we are elected and the people want to feel like they trust us. Because you're out in the community so often, I bet you they feel like they know you on a personal level, especially when you're selling pies.
Well, yeah, for sure. And you make those connections, it builds that trust, and when something really goes wrong in the community that you need help with, you don't normally have to ask because they're just there waiting to provide that to you.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear it all the time. Sheriff, what can I do to help you? What's like your go-to answer when they come up to you and they say, I just feel like I can do more for you. What can I do for you?
The first thing that I always say every time when somebody asks that, I said, pray for me and my people. That's it. That's the biggest and most important thing you can do. But outside of that, just listen. Listen to what's going on in the community. If you see something, say something. That's the old saying. If you see something, say something. We have those neighborhood watches. We have a lot of those outreach programs that are huge and beneficial to the crime rate here. To put a plug in for my deputies, from the time that I took office and instilled those programs and started new things here, Within the first 2 years, our crime rate dropped 36% straight across the board.
Wow.
And there's no reason for that other than community involvement and community trust
Small
in doing
things.
those things.
Yeah, those are the small things too. Like it's this thing, and I say it's small, but you don't think about it until you have a 36% lower rate. You're just like, wait, this actually does work.
The return of investment is huge. You know, it's every opportunity I get, I try to remind people, especially when I hear this. Well, Sheriff, I don't want to bother you. It was probably just something little. I don't want to bother you. It's like, no, that's the reason why we do what we do. But it's also the reason why, you know, we're so much more successful when we do it together, because we are only capable of doing so much in our communities. But when we have the community's assistance in making change like that, that's huge.
It is, and I tell you, we strive here to have engagement with our surrounding sheriff's offices and law enforcement jurisdictions. Like our chaplaincy program, it's not unusual for us to send one of them to another county if they need help with something that they don't have the resources for, or canines, or whatever. So it's not, and you know this and understand this, it's not just about the Christian County Sheriff's Office. If we have something going on here and we need help, we're gonna get help. We're gonna get it from all over the place, because you have to build those relationships outside the county as well.
Yeah, you know, I go back to, there's only 3,000 plus, I think it's like 3,081 sheriffs in the country.
Yeah.
But we can't do it alone, especially when it comes to the enforcement piece. But there's always a piece of knowing, because of those connections with the neighboring agencies, that all you have to do is pick up the phone and say, Sheriff, I need some help.
It is, and I know the same as you know, that if I picked up the phone tomorrow and called Will Aiken, and they said, hey Will, I've got this going on, I know you're 2.5 hours away, but I need help. I know that in 2.5 hours, or maybe less, somebody's gonna be here.
Yeah, I'm probably sending a text message to my commanders
Yeah.
while you and I are on the phone saying, gear everyone up and send them down to Christian County.
This is the address. Just go meet there. However you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you, I always aspired to be a police chief when I was a young
I'm sorry.
officer. Oh yeah, trust me, I am in a much better place now.
Great friends that are police chiefs, but
But I think there's just that dynamic of, because there's so few sheriffs in the country and in the state of Missouri, that you can pick up the phone and call a sheriff from the other corner of the state. I need help. You have an asset that I need. Can you give me a hand?
Yeah.
Without blinking, I know the sheriff will be like, on our way.
yeah, well, and you know, my involvement in the national level has built those relationships across the country. I can't think of very many states that I don't know multiple sheriffs in that I can pick the phone up and call and say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
And they would send. You know, a couple of years ago, we sent deputies out of state to assist on something that a sheriff called and said, can you send people? And sure.
Wow.
So we did. It's just those relationships that mean so much.
Yeah, and I think that speaks loudly for you too, when people can pick up the phone and call you, knowing that they would go. But you know, so I'm going to change gears just real quick and talk about, you're doing great things, but I don't think it would be possible for you to accomplish all of this without the men and women who serve your community within your office.
You know, that is probably the biggest thing in this office, is having the right people in the right places. You know, I don't often leave. I don't often go on vacation or take vacations. I'm going to be gone for 10 days coming up here, starting this weekend. Going to the national conference and meetings and things. You know, I could turn my phone off for those 10 days and I wouldn't worry about a thing that happened here, only because of the good men and women that work here at the sheriff's office, and knowing that they can take care of whatever happens. They have the knowledge, the tools, and the ability to do whatever needs to be done. And if you don't give your people the ability to make those decisions and do the things that need to be done, I encourage you to instill that process and give them the confidence to know that you have their back. You're here to make sure they have what they need to do their job, and let them do their job and build the kingdom that you want. And you know, I'm a pretty hands-on kind of guy, and it's a little tough sometimes to stand back and watch and let them do it, because I want to get in there and be in the middle of it and doing things. If there's a door to be kicked in, I want to be kicking the door in. But I'll have a captain every once in a while grab me and say, "You're not going up there. You're not doing that." I'm like, "You're not telling me what to do. We're kicking the door in."
With all due respect, Sheriff, that I am this time.
So, I mean, you have to let those people do their job and give them the ability to do it, and know that they have the backing of the sheriff to do those things.
Yeah, every time I go to a sheriff's office, the first thing that I look for is the interaction between the employees, the deputies, the non-sworn, and with me, or with other people if I get that opportunity. I just counted in my head while you were talking, we encountered 7 different people before we made it to your office. And I was reflecting on every single one of the mannerisms that they had and the looks on their faces. Every single one of them had a smile on their face. And so I think that speaks largely of, the kind of environment that they have here, and really how happy they are to work here.
We have bad days just like everybody else, but I tell my people, and I try to instill in them, hey, the day that you think that you have to come to work is the day that we probably need to figure out what's going on, because this is not a job. It's not work. Yeah, I mean, it's work, but it's a calling. It
Absolutely.
really is. And if you can't come to work and enjoy your job, maybe not on a daily basis, because some days are not fun,
Right.
but maybe you're not in the right place.
Yeah, I've actually, and I'm sure you have too, I've only been in law enforcement for just about 23 years. And I remember specific incidents where people would go through the academy, and the first time they got into a sticky situation on the job, right after that, they went and turned their stuff in.
I like sticky situation. That sounds very pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, we
But
can
that-
definitely
yeah.
say what we need to.
That's a very nice way to say
Yeah.
that, Will. Sticky
But-
situation. I like that.
I also agree. This is
Yeah.
a calling.
Yeah.
You can't just wake up one day and say, I think I want to be a cop. I think I want to be a sheriff. I think I want to be in law enforcement. No, it's a calling.
It is. Those incidents you talk about, I reflect back in 2022, we had a sticky situation. It was unfortunate that officer involved shooting, and we did what we had to do. One of those deputies that was involved in that, female deputy, she was on her last day of shadow of her FTO. I mean, the next day she was on her own.
Yeah.
And she was involved in that, and I'll tell you, she had 2 choices to make at that point. Is this really what I signed up for or not? She chose the other, and I'll tell you, she's not with us anymore because of family transition. She moved to Alabama, and I just happen to know the sheriff in that county very well, and she works for that sheriff now, and she's doing very, very well.
That's awesome.
So those are things that can go either way. It's just having that mindset and knowing that I was put here for a reason, and I'm not going to let this affect my career and my decisions.
Yeah. We face those challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I have to even remind, my friends, I didn't sign up to be involved in those sticky situations, but I signed up because I love doing what I do, knowing full well that I might find myself in a sticky situation like that. And you know what? We'll manage it, and then we'll move on and continue to do what we do. And I think, as long as we're aware that we could potentially find ourselves in situations like that, then I think we'll be all right. But we don't sign up. Try to say this as politically correct as possible. We don't sign up to hurt people.
No.
These are still members of our community. We're still trying to keep the streets safe and stuff like that. But sometimes we're called to do something that most people couldn't find the word to say it. Find the fortitude of doing.
So if someone was looking for you, trying to find you, trying to reach out to you, trying to hunt you down. Hopefully not trying to hunt you down, but we just threw that out there. Just in case your wife's watching and she's like, hey, if someone hunt down my baby, it's going to be hands-on.
Yeah.
So if someone was looking for you, where would they find you?
You know, anytime that if they need to find me, I'm not hard to find. If you really need to find me, you can call 911.
That's
But,
it. So what-
But you can always call the office here, 417-582-5330. You can go to our Facebook page. Our website's a very robust website. It's christiancountysheriff.net. There's a lot of things on there, community programs. Hey, if you want to apply for a job, you can go right there on the website and apply for a job.
Guess you're hiring.
You know, we have openings in the
Yeah.
jail. We stay pretty full in patrol and everywhere else for the
Wow.
most part. But the application process is always open. So if you want to apply, we would encourage you to do that. And you know, there's no excuse for anybody not being able to find me. Once a month, every month, we pick a community in the county.
Mhm.
We go to a cafe or a restaurant from 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning. We call it Coffee with Cole. Anybody can come, anybody can sit down, you can ask any question you want. I don't care what it is, you may not like the answer you get.
No, but that's
Right.
you open up when you ask the question. When they ask the question, it's up to them, hey.
We try to stay open to the community and have full access. You can come to the office anytime you want to. If I'm here, I'll make time for you.
Perfect. Well, any final words? Any final words for the viewers?
Hey, no, yeah, I tell you, I appreciate you coming. It's been a great podcast. We talked about a lot of things that you don't think about on a day-to-day basis, and
So you're not thinking about gorillas, is what you're
I'm
saying?
not thinking about gorillas, but you know, it's restored and refreshed my mind on some things that I just don't think about normally on a daily basis, and I appreciate you guys coming.
No, absolutely, and it's important to do that because we're all people. You know what I mean? And it's like we want to highlight, especially from the Missouri Sheriff's Association, we want to highlight the fact that we're people. We have things going on. We have support. We have family. We have stress, and there's things that are important for us to understand because it's just part of life. So, like you said, just think about things that you may not think about every day, but it's still part of who you are. But it's also good for people to hear that because it's like somebody might be struggling or somebody might be feeling stressed out or burned out, and they see some of the things that you're able to do, and that's what we want to highlight. Hey, this is what Brad Cole is doing in Christian County. It works somewhere, so apply some of these things, understand the strategies, and just say, hey, he's another man trying to build his community.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I know you're an extremely busy person, so it's awesome to come over here and connect. I know we get to see each other at the conferences and stuff, but that's never enough time to have a conversation. But I just want to say, you know, keep up the great work. Everything that you're doing is good representation for all sheriffs. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and just make sure for the viewers, we'll make sure that they stick around. We'll have some information about Missouri Sheriff's Association and anybody that's sponsoring the podcast. So,
Yeah.
perfect, guys. Thank you for your time,
Thank
guys.
you.
Y'all have fun.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.